The nation was being destroyed. The temple was aflame. The people were being dragged away in chains into slavery. And all hope had been poured out in the life in the land of Israel. And the Lord sent Isaiah with a message. And he said, "Come, Isaiah, let us reason together. What can we do here? Perhaps we can begin to wash these sins away. And though they be as scarlet, I will make them white as snow. And though they are red as crimson, I can make that as pure as the best wool you've ever seen." How many of us wishes that is true? How many of you guys are sinners? Now I believe you. Well, we say this never happens, and no, I don't ever see that. It happened. This week in AOL, strange but true news. The island of Salonika. Anybody ever been to Salonika?
Greece.
It is in Greece. It's an out island. Salonika, they play harmonicas. Salonika harmonicas. No, I'm making that part up. That's not true. But it's fun to say. The island of Salonika this past week, 23 criminals had to be released because of a lack of evidence. Because of Greece's disastrous economy, many government agencies have had to shut down, and many services that were once provided are no longer provided because they're broke. They're in depression, like our Great Depression. Greece right now is basically a mess. So if you want to travel there, don't. Anyway, because on the island of Salonika, because of all the services being shut down, particularly pest and rodent control, the whole island has been overrun with millions of rats and mice. Millions. They got into the evidence department of the Policia, and they ate it. All the drugs that they had stored in there because of, guys dealing drugs, and the weed and the this and that and all the files, all the credit, everything, they ate it.
Happy rats.
Happy rats! They were hungry on the island of Salonika, evidently. So unless you have a taste for rat, they got plenty of them. 23 criminals were released, much to the judge's chagrin, but they had to release them because the attorney said, "Well, show us the evidence against our clients." And of course, all the evidence in the evidence locker was destroyed, completely destroyed. Man, is that dodging a bullet or what? The Lord said to Isaiah, "Are you sinners? Yes, you are. Though your sins be as scarlet, I can make them white as snow. And though they be as red as crimson, I can make them like the newest, most pure wool you've ever seen." I've got rats. Let us reason together. This is the first promise. It will go on to talk about Messiah and the coming of this child. This is the first promise of God saying, yeah, you've screwed up mightily, but let's just talk, sit and talk, and see if we can't find a solution. Now that sounds pretty great, doesn't it?
Amen.
John 3:16 comes along, and we are told that God so loved this world, not hated it, wasn't vengeful against it, that God so loved this world that he was going to send this child, and whoever believed in this child, reasoned together with this child, will be made clean and whole and given life eternal. But whoever blew this child off and said no thanks, well, he's been judged already by his own hand. You know why? Because he didn't reason well together with the Lord. And then finally, Jesus, as a man, goes out. He works one of his first miracles for all the public to see. The great catch of fish. 4 weary, worn out, beat up, busted fishermen fished all night, caught nothing. Finally putting their nets away, getting ready to go home and fall into bed and sleep for, 10 hours until they go out the next night and do it again. And Jesus says to them, boys, let's go out into the deep water. Put out into the deep water. And Peter says, come on, Christ. We worked all night. We caught nothing. There's nothing out there. But Jesus convinces him. And he says, for your sake, we'll do it. So they all got back in their boats. They all rowed back out there. And then Jesus said, now cast all your nets. We just cleaned those and cast your nets. And they cast the nets. And of course, there's the great miracle, the haul of fish. And they bring in so many fish that even both boats are starting to sink. I mean, that's a miracle, don't you think? If God blessed you that way, what would your reaction be? Well, it might be, woohoo! They pull up to the shore, and the first thing Peter says is, go away from me. I am a sinful man. What kind of response is that? Have you ever asked yourself what kind of response that is? Incredible miracle, huge blessing, not just for Peter, but for the whole industry. And he says, go away from me. I'm a sinful man. The promise was made. Let's reason together. The promise was procured. My son has been sent so that you can be saved, not judged. And then when it came to deliver, no thanks. What went wrong? We're going to talk about that this morning. First, I want to hear you sing one more time because you're so good.